What is up? What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Check it out, man. 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦 finally comes clean. 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦 finally comes clean. What? Crazy. 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦 says accuser admitted to something huge in TMC podcast. Lordy day. I don't know what to say. I wish y'all would get this mess right. They got Jaguar Wright and Big Homie CC in a court filing saying they did this, that, and the third. And everybody's like, that can't be true. So wait a minute. Jaguar was in jail when this went down. So you mean to tell me they filing lies? These judges these lawyers and court papers are going down with lies on it, man. Hey, that ain't cool, man, because that's making more of the truth look like a lie in all these cases and stuff. I don't know. Look here. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Let's see what's going on in this lie. Damn. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦 coming clean. Let's check it out. Hey. TMC podcast.
Welcome to the TMZ podcast.
Always
Derek
on
here,
your...
along with Eric.
Got a lot of class.
It's two guest hosts.
Yeah, double Charlie fill in.
And you are back from a recent vacation in Iceland?
Yeah. Awesome place. Beautiful place.
Happy to be back at the desk with me?
Of course.
What a rude
I was in
awakening.
Iceland thinking, man, I really miss being at the desk with Derek.
I know. You're like, all I want to do is the pod. So we've got actually some interesting stories. We're going to lead off with what's going on in that Jay-Z case, which we thought went away. We thought the woman who accused him of rape with Diddy after the VMAs, I believe back in 2000, had dismissed her case, and you thought it would just go away. It is not. No. It is still very, very active. We'll then go into what Casey Anthony's doing with her life, accused of murdering her daughter, but was ultimately found not guilty.
And what Nancy Grace thinks about it.
Yeah, I'll give you one guess how Nancy feels about that. And then we're going to finish with what is becoming a very perplexing saga, and it is Barack Obama and Michelle Obama's marital status. We'll tell you where things lie right now, or at least where we think they might be heading. Let's start with Jay-Z. So remember, the woman who sued as a Jane Doe dismissed her lawsuit with prejudice. She said, I will not be refiling this, but a dismissal with prejudice is just that. It's a document that says, I dismissed this lawsuit. It says nothing else. It doesn't say I lied about the claims. It doesn't say anything. It just says I dismissed the lawsuit and won't refile it. Jay-Z's not done. So
he shouldn't be, honestly.
He really isn't. He's going after Tony Busby really hard. That's the lawyer who's been filing these raft of civil suits against Diddy. Basically alleging everything under the sun: sex with minors, sex with men, sex with women, sex trafficking, all sorts of stuff, some of which is seen in the criminal case, but much, much more with a whole host of people, most of them anonymous. Jay-Z is now saying, the allegation you made against me, you picked the wrong one. And I'm going after you hard. I'm going after you for extortion. You sent me a demand letter and said this would all go away if I paid you a bunch of money. You defamed me in public.
But he's right. We do know that because before Jay was even named, when Tony Busby said he was representing victims of Diddy, he said that there were some high-profile A-list names, and if they didn't pay up, basically he was going to reveal who they were, and then he announced Jay-Z. So this was Tony Busby's MO from the beginning.
God,
it really was.
I mean, everybody in this room was calling it, this is like legal extortion, basically.
Yeah, it's part of the seedy underbelly of what we call plaintiff's law, where you do these pre-litigation letters. Before I file a lawsuit, I'm just letting you know I have this wonderful claim against you. It's very, very strong. It's also quite embarrassing. I don't want to really go through the rigmarole of bringing a lawsuit, and you don't really want to defend it. So what do you say we make this go away with a settlement before these allegations become a public filing? This is legal. There are versions of it that are very legal. It's a part of how law is practiced. It does sound shady to people. It sounds like a shakedown.
Wow. Did you hear that? I think it's legal. Actually, it could be legal because either you're going to do the same thing in court because all you're going to get is money. So let's get the money out of the way because here's a video of what you did. So Miss Ariel might be right. She's shopping tapes around and telling people to pay up before we take this to court, or you get embarrassed, basically. Yeah. Hey, I ain't never looked at it like that.
Now that the Jane Doe has dropped this suit, that Jay-Z is going fully, not just that she's dropped it, but she's kind of acknowledged. She said that Tony Busby pushed her into naming Jay-Z.
Well, she hasn't
says that.
said it yet.
Well,
so
there's a private
conversation that a private investigator has now filed an affidavit. And this private investigator's name, I believe, is Charlotte Henderson. And she says, I wasn't hired by Jay-Z or anything. She didn't say who she was hired by. But I did go to Jane Doe's house, this anonymous woman. I met her in Alabama. We sat on her porch. She didn't look nervous. She wasn't put upon. There was no fear indicated in her body language. And we had a conversation. And during that conversation, she told me that Jay-Z never sexually assaulted me. What happened was I reached out to a law firm that was gathering up lawsuits that they wanted to bring against Diddy. I said that Diddy sexually assaulted me after the VMAs. Then I met with Tony Busby.
Because she said that Jay-Z never assaulted her, but she said that she did see him at one of Diddy's parties, events,
That's right.
Whatever. Just that he was there.
She said he was there.
Didn't say he was participating in anything, just that he was there.
Yeah, she said my story to this private investigator, according to the private investigator, is that Diddy sexually assaulted me in front of an A-list female celebrity. Jay-Z happened to be at this event, but had nothing to do with this sexual assault. And the private investigator says that the woman reiterated it 4 times during this conversation, that Jay-Z had nothing to do with it, and also said Busby brought Jay-Z into it. He was the one that kind of pushed me towards going forward with him. So according to this private investigator, Busby really wanted another big name and heard that Jay-Z was at the party maybe in the course of her conversation and said, hey, we should sue him. That's a big payday. She then says that right before Busby filed the dismissal of the lawsuit, he told the woman, hey, Jay-Z could kill you and could come after you. He's a very, very powerful guy. And she said upon hearing this, she said, okay, I'll dismiss the lawsuit. She hasn't sort of retracted the allegation she made against Diddy, but according to this, she never made them against Jay-Z without the prodding of Busby. This is a pretty devastating document if it's true.
It's interesting now because Jay-Z obviously is going after Tony Busby and could decimate him because Jay-Z does have a lot of money. They were right about that.
That's right.
But now Tony Busby is kind of saying that, whoa, there was another law firm, another counsel that Jane Doe had gone to where she mentioned Jay-Z. They came to me. That's where I saw the Jay-Z connection. So now he's trying to basically say, it's not me, it's them.
That's right. He's pawning it off. He's saying, I got a lot of lawsuits. This one reached out to another law firm, and then I just saw their intake form, and then I pursued what was before me.
So Jane Doe's now saying it was Tony. Tony's now saying it's this other group. The thing is, if it's any or all of them or some combination, Jay's got the deep enough pockets and the high-profile, powerful enough counsel, he can go after all of them.
He really can. And he is like a dog with a bone. He feels his reputation has been tarnished by this whole saga. And I understand that.
He's completely right, because the whole point of this was at the beginning, Tony Busby's thing, like you said, with this quote unquote legal extortion. Basically, you have a reputation and I will destroy it if you don't pay me money.
Yes.
Is the gist of what kind of is going on here. So if that is fake, if it is about the reputation, then Jay's got to protect his reputation now.
Yeah, and to his credit, and I think he's very, very well advised and very well represented, Jay-Z, by, great law firms and advisors, because he's positioned this as, I'm going hard against this scumbag lawyer, Tony Busby, and his estimation is extorting him. He's also delicately, not so delicate, he has now sued the Jane Doe, who he says, lied about him and lied about his involvement in the sexual assault, but he's doing that delicately. He's maintaining her anonymous status. He's suing and saying, I'd like to sue her as a Jane Doe. I'm not looking to publicly expose her. This is a delicate matter, and I think he's playing that pretty well.
And there is a story that, I think it was the private investigator, the story that she had been in a mental health facility shortly before this was all filed.
That's right. There's a separate private investigator, a guy named Ian, who says, Pollinger, I believe his last name is, and in his declaration, he says, look, she has a history of mental health issues, one of which put her in a facility within 90 days of filing this lawsuit. What he's trying to do is show up Tony Busby and other similar law firms as filing these lawsuits recklessly. You have some duty to investigate the veracity of the claims before you destroy someone's reputation. It's not much. I'll be honest with you. In the law, you can file a complaint and it starts a lawsuit, and then you do discovery and you sort of verify some of the claims you made. You don't have to be fully buttoned up, but he's saying you got to do better than this.
Right.
You got to do something.
Well, and to that point, and I think this will probably go in Jay-Z's favor. because when Tony Busby first announced that he was going to be reaching out to these celebrities, before he ever named Jay-Z, he didn't name any names at first. I mean, we had the discussion here in our newsroom, like, how is that legal? Like, that just sounds like blackmail.
It does. It does. Listen.
It sounded kind of seedy when it was first announced. It had nothing to do with liking Jay-Z or not. We didn't even know he was going to be one of the names.
Yeah.
It just seems like...
It seems scummy. I mean, there are limitations.
Jay's going after that.
From Tony Busby's perspective, he says, look, I didn't want to bring this lawsuit. I sent you a letter hoping to resolve this before there was a lawsuit where your name was dragged into this. So we'll see where this all shakes out. Jay-Z is not giving up until his name is restored. So this is a big development. Let's move on to another legal development in the life of Casey Anthony. You remember Casey Anthony?
Of course.
You know who remembers her very, very well? Nancy Grace.
Yeah, still calling her Tot Mom 15 years later.
Still calling her Tot Mom. If you don't remember Casey Anthony's saga, it was in 2008. She was accused of going out and being a party girl and killing her daughter, her 2-year-old daughter, 𝗟𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦. The body was eventually found, duct taped. It was a horrific crime that occurred. She really got trashed in the media. Because there were lots of pictures of her partying and things like that. She was a young mother.
Well, and as the judge in the case is now reminding people, like, she wasn't found innocent. She was found not guilty.
That's right.
And that sounds like a really, tit for tat kind of differentiation there. But they're just saying that there wasn't enough evidence to prove she did it.
That's all.
They're not saying they think she didn't. It's a lot like OJ.
That's right. In every criminal case,
you can think they did it, but the prosecution couldn't prove it.
That's right. The prosecution has the entire burden of proving guilt. And if they don't prove it, it doesn't prove innocence. It just means you haven't proven guilt. You're not guilty. You're never found innocent.
And now she's hawking legal advice.
She is. There was a documentary about her a little while ago where she works in a legal office and she's trying to turn her life around. She's not a lawyer. She's more of a legal assistant, kind of a paralegal type researcher. But she's around these issues and she seems to want to sort of have a life in this world. So she is starting a Substack, which is basically like a platform where you can help people, and she wants to dispense kind of legal advice. She's not a lawyer, but she wants to help people through these issues.
Kind of illegal depending on what she does. Because you
got to be careful.
It is illegal for a non-lawyer to give legal advice.
That's exactly right. You can't practice law without one of those bar cards that I have. So, it's a...
And I don't even trust your legal advice.
Exactly. Yeah. Even if you get one of those guys, you're not going to necessarily get good advice. But she wants to do this, and she's charging for it. I think it's $10 a month, or you could pay $100 up front.
Save $20.
That's right. Nancy Grace has views on this. Let's hear them.
Legal advocate? My rear end. She says she's been in the legal field since 2011 when she was tried for murder. That's her exposure to the justice system. I agree with trial judge Belvin Perry. This is just a money grab. She needs money.
Yeah, Nancy goes on to say, when I go to a zoo and see a snake behind the glass, that's as close as I want to get to it. I'm not subscribing to your Substack.
Nancy has still got it. She built a whole career in this. She was a prosecutor, so it's no surprise that she has very strong views about Casey Anthony. I have a different take. I love Nancy Grace. I think she's right that Casey Anthony is trying to monetize this, maybe trying to make a little grab at some fame and relevance in the meantime.
Like you said, that documentary a year or two ago kind of reminded her of I think she likes fame.
I think she does like fame. I think she's a very complicated person. I also think Casey Anthony is a very attractive person, and there are easier ways to make money and fame. She could have gone to OnlyFans. She absolutely could have. She would have had a huge OnlyFans account. There's a lot of people who just are like lust after Casey Anthony. That was part of the appeal of the trial, is that she's attractive.
Yeah.
She didn't do that. She actually works in a law office, and she's trying to sort of pay something forward, or right the cosmos in some way, potentially. If you take
unless
her at
you
her
think
word.
she killed her daughter, then it's disgusting.
It's gross.
I learned about the legal system while I got off for killing my daughter.
Yes.
Now I want you to pay me to tell you how to do the same.
That's right. Although she maintains,
and there are people that see it that way.
She didn't do this. She does maintain that. There's been always,
and she legally is not guilty of it.
That's right. And she was never found guilty of it. There's no civil suit, nothing like that, like in the OJ case.
Who would sue? In OJ, he was sued by the family of Nicole Brown. The family of 𝗟𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦 is her.
Yeah, I remember the grandparents might have sort of thought about some remedy, but they're not going to sue their daughter and things like that. So this is it's a very sad story, but I think there are worse things that Casey Anthony could have done than start a Substack where she's trying to sort of dispense some legal wisdom she's acquired along the way.
So it's illegal to give legal advice if you are not. So what are the penalties for that?
The consequences are bad.
Because I think
do it.
If she does this, again talking about OJ, remember OJ got off in the criminal trial for murdering Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. But then, a decade later, the whole thing with breaking into the hotel room and stealing was it trading card?
It was his old memorabilia,
Yeah. He got, 10 years for that?
Yeah.
Which was an insane sentence for that particular crime.
Right,
everybody's like,
payback.
This is retribution because you got off. If it is illegal for her to do this, and she does it, could there be retribution now for Kaylee 15, almost 20 years later, because she's giving legal advice on Substack?
It's a great question, right? Because Harvey told us this is illegal, and if she is held accountable, will the people who sit in judgment of her, a judge or a jury, want to sort of throw the book at her on a petty offense like this in order to make her pay for the previous one that she got off on?
Yeah, I will see what happens.
Very interesting. Let's go to our last story, which is fascinating everyone. Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, attended a Clipper game last night. James Harden put up 50 points. It was a wonderful game. He's sitting there with Steve Ballmer and his wife, but no Michelle Obama. And the plot is really thickening. What do you think's going on here?
It's getting weird. Like at first I was like, this is just weird speculation, whatever. She didn't go to Jimmy Carter's funeral. She didn't go to the inauguration. The inauguration kind of made sense because she is very vocally hates Donald Trump.
That's right. You could square that with reality. You could say that has to do with Donald Trump. That has nothing to do with marital
Barack
problems.
went because he's the former president. She didn't go because I don't have to be there.
That's right.
And the funeral, I forget what the excuse was, that she was in Hawaii or something.
Yes.
They're starting to doing her.
But it's getting weird. And especially because Barack and Michelle are so very savvy about their public image. They are very aware of who they are.
Yes.
Knowing there's all this speculation, all she has to do is show up with him one time and that's it.
And you and I are married guys. Most of the time you go out with your wife. I mean, when you go out for an evening, the notion of leaving Mary behind or leaving Lauren behind, it doesn't even occur to me, really. I mean, I guess you can go out with the boys for a drink or something like that. That happens. But going to a basketball game?
But he's like alone at a lot of these things. And also odd that after the game, he went to dinner with Malia and Sasha's daughters.
No Michelle there.
It's odd.
It's like they're starting
and that she went out. We saw her a month ago with her brother.
That's right. It is almost as if they're soft launching their separate profiles in the world and getting people used to it before there's some sort of announcement. That's how it feels to me. He's out with his daughters. He's out with Steve Ballmer. He's not inconspicuous. He's the former president. He's very, very famous. He's waving to the crowd. He's on the Jumbotron. They gave him a jersey and so forth. He is wearing his wedding ring, and that's something. I don't want to say that that's nothing, but
he knows even if he's not going to announce it that way. He's not going to show up without it. But it is. Just be seen together. That's all. Bill and Hillary were always seen together.
But on Valentine's Day, he gave her this gushing post about how.
But it looked like an older photo.
It did look like an older photo, and you can still have these feelings of love about how someone is so important to your life. They raised two beautiful daughters. They've had a beautiful marriage in a lot of ways. So you can say those things and still not be in the best place.
And it might not even be their relationship. It could be, it's all just speculation. Maybe she's just not in a good place right now. And it's like, I don't need to be that public. I just need some time.
Here's the thing I know. Every time he steps out without her, the world is going to erupt and monitor it. So if they want to silence these rumors, there's a very easy way to do so. They can go out on a date. They can go even out with their kids and the family. They're not doing that. And that's what's causing all this speculation. And the doubt is starting to mount, I got to say.
It's wild.
All right, that'll do it for us today. We will see you next time.
Are you serious, man? God, you mean to tell me if Michelle is working on something big, she got to do a lot of traveling, she probably tired, whatever, and Barack is like, I'm the retired president, man. I'm going to go out and have me some fun. I'm going to enjoy my life. Honey, you go ahead and work on your book or whatever she doing. I don't know what she doing. And then all of a sudden, for about 3 or 4 months, this go down. Hey, man, they about to get a divorce. God dang, are you serious? I hope that's not the case. How about that? Man, I hope they ain't getting no divorce. God, after all that presidency, the first black president going through a divorce, that bring you all the way down to, y'all take it light. Y'all take it slow. Tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.